We're now on Mem Beis Hamid Beis. The first time that the Mashuach Milchama addressed the people when they were gathered together at the border, he said, Shimu divrei marchei hamilchama. Hear words concerning ma'archei, the regiments of war. And that means who is suitable to go out to war, and who should go back to the, lachzor me'hamilchama, the chizru. So these are the laws of those who are exempt from army service. For example, one who built a new house but did not inaugurate it, one who planted a vineyard but did not redeem its fruit, one who did erisin with a woman but did not take her into Nesuin, one who was frightened and faint of heart. So at the border, the Mashuach Milchama would recite those psukim that proclaim these exemptions, in effect commanding those who fell into those various categories to return. Upon hearing his recitation, they would return to their homes. And even though these psukim are prefaced with the words v'dibra shotrim, implying that it's the officers who proclaim these regulations, not the Kohen, the Gemara explains, when you get to it yet on Mem Gimel, that these psukim were first recited by the Kohen, and then they were repeated by the shotrim. When they were ready, going out to battle, what did the Kohen Mashuach Milchama say to them? Al yerach levavcha al tiru val tefpozu v'al ta'artzu. Now, there are 4 different phrases here. So these 4 different phrases correspond to 4 attempts or categories of attempting the idolaters to instill fear in the Jewish hearts. Number 1, Megifim and Mariam, they clash their shields together, they blow their horns. Number 2, Sovchim V'romsim. So I guess we're reading it as Megifim and Mariam. Megifim means they bang their shields together, and number 2, they blow their horns. And Sovchim is number 3, and they shout, making a loud noise, V'romsim, and they set the horses to stamping and to neighing. And the Kohen Mashuach Milchama urged Bnei Yisrael to remain steadfast and unafraid of these 4 categories. The Mishnah says, Plishtim bo b'nitzchono shel Goliath. All right, from now on, we have an Agadah about Goliath. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, she'amad v'gili panim l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he blasphemed against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenemar, as it says, Beru lachem ish v'yered Eloi. So this is a pasuk in Shmuel Aleph, Perek Yud Zayin. Choose for yourselves a man. What's ish? He could have said Adam, and let him come down to me. Ein ish, the word ish means El HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as it says Hashem ish milchama. Vayetze ish, Goliath shmo, v'lo omar vayetze Goliath. Shebo lomar shal shem yitzia zu nikra b'shem Hashem, v'darshu shekavanos al Hashem mishum shahoy yitzarech lomar bru lachem michem, or bru lachem adam michem. So when he says ish, we understand this kavana is for an ish gibor bal milchama, and who's that? Who's the ish milchama? That's Hashem. So we're talking about Goliath as a blasphemer. Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu, Haredim apilu al yad Ben Ish, he went out to fight Ish against the Almighty himself, then he will fall to the hands of the Son of Man. Son of Man meaning here a nar, a lad. And the pasuk describes David and how Goliath laughed at David. He says, "Vayivizeu," Goliath ridiculed him, ki hoya nar. So Goliath called for a man, meaning a mighty warrior, to come down to him. And instead, he said, "Oh, what do I see here? A lad." So God mocked him by sending him to his defeat at the hands of a lad. So he wanted Ish, I'm going to fight against Ish and defeat Ish. And at the end, he fell into the hands of a nar. Now, where do we see any allusion to the fact that David is called an Ish? I should say a Ben Ish. Shenemar, as it says in Perkid Zayin of Shmuel Aleph, it says, "V'David ben Ish Efrosi Hazeh." Om Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Meir Shlosha B'Shlosha Makomos Levado Piv Lechado Piv Lioso Rosh. In 3 instances, his own words, meaning the words of Goliath, ensnared the wicked one, Goliath. Echad number 1, Bru lachem ish v'yered elai. Choose for yourself a man and let him come down upon me. And by saying that man would come upon me, it was like a nevuah, so to speak. And Goliath inadvertently implied that David would overpower him. So he prophesied his own doom. V'idach, number 2, Im yuchal lilochem iti vikani, as if to say, oh yeah, he will succeed in battle with me and he will smite me. But that became a prophecy, prophesizing his own doom, that David would smite him. The Idach, and the third, the Kamalele David, Goliath says to David, Akelev anochi ki ato boy lai b'maklos. What am I, a little dog that you come to me with staves? Here too, by saying that you come upon me, Goliath, unconsciously prophesies that he would fall to the hands of David. So Gemara asks the question, David Navia Amalei, why don't you apply the same principles to David? He said, Ata boy lai b'cherev u'b'chanis u'b'kidon. You come upon me with a sword, with a spear, and with a javelin. So if David said, you come upon me, it means that should have also been a prophecy that David would be overcome by Goliath. The Gemara answers Hadar Amalei, because if you read the end of the pasuk, it says, "Vanochi ba elecha b'shem Hashem tzvakos elokei Yisrael, elokei marchos Yisrael asher charafta." I come upon you with the name of Hashem, Master of Legions, God of the regiments of Israel that you have ready. So, since David said that he comes in the name of God, then his opening words have no consequence. Vayigasha plishti hashkem v'er. And the Plishtim approached them every morning and evening. Omer Rabbi Yochanan, why every morning and evening? He wanted to preoccupy them. They wouldn't have the ability to perform the mitzvah of Kriyat Shema, Shachris, V'Arvis. He would disrupt their concentration, keep them from giving the words their full attention. And if Klal Yisrael recite Shema Yisrael at the proper time, they'll be victorious, as we said earlier. And Goliath wished to deny them this merit. So he therefore came morning and evening. He was such a lamdim. And Vayisyatsev Arboim Yom. Why did he stand there for 40 days? What's the significance of that? Omer Rabbi Yochanan Keneged Arboim Yom Shenitna B'hem Torah. And Moshe Rabbeinu is up on the mountain for 40 days learning the Torah. And here you can interpret the Gemara in 2 ways. One way is to say that there were 40 days of delay in receiving the Torah. and that empowers Goliath to stand against Israel for 40 days. Because in these 40 days, while Israel lacked protection of the Torah, and Israel was weakened, Goliath exploited that weakness to intimidate them for 40 days. So that's one way of interpreting it. But the other way of interpreting it is so that's one interpretation. However, the Marsha says that there was a koach kedusha in those 40 days. However, we have a rule, Zeluma said, that whenever there's a koach kedusha, there's always a corresponding koach hatuma. So against the Yoborim Yom that Moshe Rabbeinu stood learning the Torah at Har Sinai, which is a tremendous, awesome koach kedusha, there was a 40-day period of koach hatuma. However, it says the Marsha, koach kedusha gadol yosem shemosha omad bahar gam beleilos v'Goliath rak v'yomim. This part I don't understand so well, but he's saying that the koach kedusha is greater than the koach hatuma. Vayetze ish habeinayim imachnos plishtim. Now the whole Agadah we're about to learn is about the promiscuity of the mother of Goliath. What is my beinayim? Like a middle of the road type of guy. Omar Rav shemevuna mikol mum. So Rav says he was built free of all blemish, perfectly built. So mevuna here means beinayim here and mevuna are the same, and we're talking about a building of a perfectly built. Shmuel Amar, on the other hand, beinoni sheba'achav. There were 4 brothers, and he was the middle of the 4 brothers. All 4 with gigantic stature. He, however, was neither the tallest nor the shortest. Like this has to do a lot with Chana and Shmuel, whatever. Rabbi Shilo Omar is the third opinion. Shu Asui Kibinyan. He was solid as a building. Not that he was the middle of the brothers. Very similar to what Rav said, he was free of all blemish. Do we know the difference between Rav and Rabbi Shilo? I don't know, it seems like they're identical. Rabbi Yochanan Omar, Bar Me'ah Hape V'chada Neno. He was born of 100 stepfathers and 1 father. According to Rabbi Yochanan, Beinayim indicates that Goliath was born of an admixture of seed. His mother cohabitated with 100 men in a single night. One of them was in truth biologically Goliath's father. Rabbi Yochanan, like Shmuel, relates Beinim to Bain, meaning that Goliath emerged from between numerous men. And in the Masechet he adds, the Ein Yadua Mi of. If we don't know, we cannot determine who is the father of Goliath. Goliath Shmo Migas. So that's the pasuk. Tani Rav Yosef Shakol Doshim Es Imo Kegas. Like just like you press down the olives, the grapes, so too they press down on the mother and all these acts of promiscuity. Siv, it says regarding the mother of Goliath, Me'oros Plishtim, V'karinan Marachos Plishtim. What does that mean? Tony Rav Yosef, Shakol Heru Be'ima. Heru means they had cohabitation with his mother. She was Mufkeres Liznus. Ksiv, Pasuk says Harafa, Uksiv Arpa, to God to Rus. One of the daughters of Nomi was Arpa. And here we have a controversy as to how to reconcile these two words, Rafa and Arpa. Rav Shmuel Chad Amar, according to one opinion, Harafa Shma, the real name was Harafa. The hay is part of the name. Harafa. V'lama nikra Shma Arpa. Shakol Orfin Osa Machreha. That means they have intercourse with her from the back. Shalo Kedarka. Chad Amar Arpa Shma V'lama nikra Shma Harafa. Shakol Dashim Osa. Everyone cohabitates with her. Keharifos, like Chitim Haktushim B'machtish. V'chedu Omer, Pasuk says Sheharfa is a reference to Chitim Ktushos. Vatikach Ha'isha Vatifros Es HaMosach Al Pnei HaBe'er Vatishtach Olav Harifos. Iboy Seim Mehacha Im Tichtosh Es HaVil B'machtish V'soch Harifos Bal. So the pasuk says regarding 4 mighty warriors who fought against David HaMelech that they were born to Harafa in Gas. Who are these 4? Amarav Chizda. So I just want to translate that last pasuk that we read from Mishlei. If you crush a fool in a mortar amid crushed kernels of wheat, harifos, with a pestle, you will not remove from him his folly. Anyway, we see that the word harafa denotes something that's crushed. Okay, so who are the 4 mighty warriors who fought against David HaMelech? Saf, Umadon, Goliath, V'yishbi Benov. Okay, Vayiplu biyad David ubiyad avadav. They fell in the hands of David and the hands of his servants. But why did they fall to David HaMelech? Tichsiv, because the pasuk says in Megillas Rus, Vatishak arpa lechamosa v'Rus dovka ba. And Arpa kissed her mother-in-law, Nomi, and departed. But Ruth cleaved to her. Right, she's a great-great-grandmother of David. Amar Rav Yitzchak, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yavo b'nei haneshuka. Okay, so the children of Arpa, who was kissed, v'yiplu b'yad b'nei advuka, and let them fall by the hands of the sons of the woman who cleaved, meaning Rus, who cleaved to Nomi. It seems, this is very esoteric, that Naomi's kiss drew from Arpa the last vestiges of good that remained from her attachment to her former husband, Kilion. After that kiss, she was wholly given over to evil, and therefore her sons fell to the sons of Rus. Rus wished to cleave to the divine presence. She therefore remained with her mother-in-law and converted to Judaism. Arpa, who was also Harafa, allowed herself to be convinced not to convert. She kissed her mother-in-law and returned to her former life. And because she spurned Judaism, it was decreed that her 4 sons would fall at the hands of David, a descendant of Rus. Orpah merited these sons because she kissed Naomi. Yet Rus had a merit that was much greater, therefore her descendants were victorious over the sons of Orpah. Dorash Rava, B'schar arva dmos shahorida Orpah chamosa, reward for the 4 tears that Orpah let fall over her departure from her mother-in-law, Zachsa v'yatzu mimena arba gibor. So she had 4 warriors. Shenemar vatisena kolon vativkena. Oh, and they raised their voice and wept again. So this is the second act of weeping. When it says Ode, they wept again. Each act produced 2 tears, 1 from each eye, and 2 weepings, 4 tears. Siv, Chetz Chaniso, Ukridan Eitz Chaniso, the wood of his spear. Amar B'lozo Adain Lo Higionu Lechatzi Shivcho Shaloso Rosha. So the word Chetz also comes to the word Chatzi, which means half, indicating that we have not yet reached half the praise of that wicked one. I think this is a Loshen Saginor over here. Although it elaborates on the might of Golios, the pasuk doesn't give him full justice. Mikansha also l'saper b'shvochan shavashon. Gemara asks for liftach beiklal. If you're not allowed to praise the wicked, so the pasuk shouldn't even opened it all with the praise of Goliath. Lo duye shivchei de David, but rather the pasuk wanted to make known the great praise of David, who undertook to fight such a fearsome warrior. So to put David's deed into perspective is necessary to speak somewhat of the mighty Goliath. B'nei Amon bo b'nischono shel Shovach, Siv Shovach. So his name was Shovach, which means a dove coat. Uksiv Shofech. And in another place it's written as Shofach. So it's either Shovach or Shofach. Rabu Shmuel. Chadamar Shofech Shmuel. In truth, his name was Shofech. V'lo menikra Shovech. Sha'asui kishovach. What does that mean? Asui kishovach. He was built like a dovecote. He was of great height, like a dovecote, with strength to match. Kanomer Shovech Shmo, v'lo menikra Shofech, Shofach, shekola ro'o so nishpach lefonav kikito. Anyone who would see him would be poured out before him as from a flask. In other words, their will to fight would drain away. He was so fearsome in appearance that all who looked upon him would immediately lose heart. Now we're going to talk about the army of Nebuchadnezzar. Ashpaso, Ashpaso kikever pasua kulam gibor. Its ashpach is as an open grave. They are all mighty warriors. Rabbi Shmuel. What is its ashpach? The Amri others say it was machlok between Rabbi Ami v'Ravas. Chadamer b'shosh zorkim chetz osim ashpetos shel chalol. That when these warriors would shoot an arrow, they would make heaps and heaps of corpses. So this verse portrays the deadliness of Nebuchadnezzar's army, and it compares the quiver of arrows to an open grave. Even before battle is joined, the foes are no better than corpses. They lack only being placed in an open waiting grave. Maybe it's because they were expert fighters. Talmud Lomar Kulam Giborim, mighty warriors. When they would tend to their needs and defecate, they would make heaps and heaps of excrement because they had the prodigious appetites of mighty men. Maybe they were sick. They were mighty warriors. A person who produces excessive excrement, he's suffering from a stomach ailment. In other words, he should occupy himself with finding a remedy before the illness worsens. Now we have another pasuk. Da'aga b'lev ish yashchena. If there is dread in a man's heart, let him quash it. Yashchena. Where is this pasuk in Mishlei? Rav Ami v'Rav Asi Chadomar yashchena midaito. He should put all the worry out of his mind, and he should distract himself. Chadomar yasichena lachera. He should relate his concerns to others. Perhaps they will give him good counsel. They would cheer and console him. The Mishnah says, "V'atem I atem came." V'cholkach lama. In other words, why does the Kohen Mashul have to say all this? That Hashem goes with them and so forth. Mipnei Hashem v'chol kinuyav. For the name of Hashem and all its subordinate names, Munachim ba'aron, were lying in the Aron that accompanied them into battle. So the Kohen alluded to this by saying that Hashem goes with them in battle. Okay, so the Gemara now, we'll do this, we know it tomorrow, proves that the Aron would accompany the Jews into battle. The Afutzai Vecha, we hope and pray that will be fulfilled in our time. Have a great day.